Hey guys, I'm going to take the next couple of minutes to walk you through the type of investment opportunities that I've done in the past that are representative of the future high impact climate tech startups that I will invest in the future that you might be interested in contributing to. The number one is Continuum. It's a Danish-based startup that responds to a fundamental problem in the way we handle end-of-life wind turbine blades. So think about a windmill. There's an explosion of wind energy in the world, and we definitely by 2060 need to continue doubling or tripling the amount of windmills that we put both onshore and offshore. Denmark is one of the countries that has bet the most into this industry and is now sitting on millions of end-of-life wind turbines because after 20 years, the composite materials start reshaping and losing its properties. It's just not energetically efficient anymore. So it needs to be decommissioned. Today, unfortunately, we do not know what to do with it. So it's literally being buried because the composite materials do not burn and we do not know how to recycle that. So there is a massive problem that most of the big windmill producers and the governments are sitting with. Continuum is coming up with a solution that uses a mechanical process. On the west part of Denmark, in the port of Esbjerg, so in the background here, they're installing a $60 million facility that will just use those blades as feedstock, use a number of modules such as a centrifuge, a shredder, and different mechanical processes to separate the raw materials and use 90% of the output into new cement panels, wood cement panels that are used in the construction space. So to insulate buildings today, it's mandated across the EU and the US that you need to put insulation panels. And it happens that those little fibers that are used in windmills are have the perfect attributes to fill those requirements. So there's a potential here that Continuum, if they crack the first factory in the port of Esbjerg in Denmark, can then go on to build another 2, another 5, another 10 across the globe, and then become the number one producer of wood cement panels. So there's a pent-up demand for their solution, both on the supply side, because there's millions of blades are sitting idle, not being leveraged, and then there's enormous pent-up demand. And if they have a price-competitive offer for wood cement panels, this is an enormous potential success. The second company is addressing the problem of plastic packaging. Plastics and single-use plastics have been banned in a number of countries in the EU, in the US, but also some parts of Asia and Africa. The problem here is multi-layered plastic packaging, such as tomato ketchup, the sachets for barbecue sauce, mayonnaise, and all sorts of packaging that you find in your supermarket. The reason why we cannot remove the plastic layers is that there's multiple layers to it. There's a coating, there's an outer layer, there's different barriers to UV, humidity, and heat that are separating the food from the outside environment. Today, 1.5, which is a Hamburg-based German startup, is researching and pulling the patents from a number of universities to bridge that gap between the research and the commercial applications. They believe that in the next 3 to 5 years, they can crack those 5 barriers, making it entirely replaced by paper-based alternatives. If they do so, this is a unicorn right there. This is an enormous potential hit. The third investment opportunity was Quantum. Quantum is playing in the heat pump space. Heat pumps have made the news all around the world because of the energy crisis caused by the war in Ukraine and the enormous rise in the cost of energy, in particularly urban gas. Today, we know that we need to decommission the gas boilers and replace them by heat pumps. The problem is we know how to do it in single houses in non-urban areas, but we do not know how to retrofit thousands of units in highly dense areas. Well, this is where Quantum comes in. Quantums want to make that as simple as just fitting in a little fan, a heat pump on the window, and putting all the machinery in the basement so that they can take, those enormous apartment building complexes, such as this one that has 1,200 units in London, at once. And this is a potential $6 million contracts right there in one go. and they have signed up a number of contracts all across Europe. The bottlenecks for the heat pump market is A, modularity, so that you can easily maintain those units over the next couple of decades, because this is for the long term, and B, the installation. And you need an army of installers to make that happen in enormous cities like London, Paris, Stockholm, and you name it. Quantum has attracted the eyes of the who is who in Sweden. All the big investors want to come in, and we managed to get an allocation into this business. And we believe that we can get a quick return on investment because of the pressing needs on the market in just 3 to 5 years. Another investment is a London-based insect farming company that is close to my heart, because I've been following this company for a while. They came out of Y Combinator in the summer of 2017. The founder and CEO, Karen, is just a great mind and great human being. What they're doing is replacing food waste by protein using insects. Insects have this incredible ability to dismantle and degrade every aspect of the food waste and turn that into highly dense and nutritious protein. 17% actually of the insect that results in that grows to adult size is made of protein. Entocycle is using a B2B approach. They believe that with the explosion of this market, that will be reformed in the EU. The EU is about to pass reforms to enable and to allow insects as potential human food, and also has already done it for animal feed and fish feed. There's an explosion across the world. It's literally a gold rush in some parts of Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia that is also coming to Europe. And Entocycle, instead of doing the production of protein themselves, they want to equip all the farmers around the world, the thousands of farmers that need the equipment but do not want to spend the budget in R&D to build the breeding modules to optimize and get to proper unit economics. So Entocycle is playing the picks and shovels approach, and they're selling the units by the hundreds. They're literally surfing and riding that wave as a first mover advantage, because they spend the millions of dollars and years to develop those modules before anyone else. So there's a potential for them to become a huge player into potential IPO in the next couple of years. Way Out is addressing the problem of plastics, but plastics for water, plastic bottles. Today, we produce 4 billion plastic bottles every single day, and we ship those across the planet using container ships. So it's a double challenge from a CO2 perspective is A, it takes fossil fuels to assemble the plastic, and it takes fossil fuels to ship, in those container ships. Way Out as the solution. They want to relocalize and decentralize the production of water and to make it clean drinking water locally. How do you do this? They have a container size water treatment facility that can literally use and pump water locally where it's available. So think about the rivers, the dirty rivers in India or in some part of Pakistan or some parts of Africa, where there's literally water shortage, and it's just, you need to pump the water from industrial wastewater, those really dirty rivers, or whatever pond is locally available. And it treats the water with 5 different modules using a centrifuge, using a UV treatment. They literally kill all the bacteria, remove the heavy metals and all the dirty stuff, and inject the minerals to make that output drinking water pristine and as good as the drinking water in the best cities around the world. Each unit that is coming as a little container size cost $1 million. And they've already sold dozens of the units. They could literally make a massive hit and grow exponentially from there. And the last opportunity is called ZeroPoint. ZeroPoint is playing in a completely different category. It's on the software, and they're addressing the data center problem. We know that using our smartphones today require more data than we've ever used in the history of humanity, and this is not about to slow down. So we need to find combinations of hardware and software to re-optimize the data center so that we use less space. This is exactly what ZeroPoint is doing. They claim that they're 2 or 3 years ahead of AWS, Google, and Microsoft when it comes to proprietary technology. So there's a clear acquisition potential here if it becomes the standard and proves that they can increase the performance per watt by 50%. That means that all the big players will want to adopt them, and eventually it will be a great prospect for an acquisition. Why is that a CO2 story? Is by optimizing the performance, you reduce the energy consumption, and because it's responsible for 8% of global carbon footprint, this is an enormous carbon winner. So those are the type of opportunities that we invest in with the club. I would love to count you in and have share those opportunities with you. There's really two ways for you to get involved. The number one is to join my course, Invest in Climate Tech like a VC. Over 2 days, I share all the ropes to become a world-class investor. We go through case studies, we look at decks, investor terms, we separate in breakout rooms, so it's very interactive and immersive and not boring. I can guarantee you, you're not going to be bored over the next 2 days if you join this course. And you can also join my investment community on the Discord channel, where for every opportunity, I share all the elements of the deal, the deck, the investment memorandum. I explain why this deal is so attractive to me and explain in depth the unfair advantage, the financials aspect of the company, and also the exit and return potential. And I open it up to Q&A to the rest of the community so that everyone can express their concerns, raise their hands, and then ask really intelligent questions so that we can leverage the collective intelligence of the group. So that's how you can get involved. I would love to count you in amongst our community. Until then, thanks for tuning in.